Hello.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the Supabase happy hour. I just realized like all of my lights aren't right. Alaister.
Right. Oh,
Alaister
nice.
has complained every time we've played that super long intro, the 5-minute intro. But behind the scenes, I'm frantically running around and like setting up all of my stuff and like, making this setup look profesh as. And this time, I haven't been able to do that because I've only had like 45 seconds. So if you notice that we're not quite as prepared, it's because I haven't had my 5 minutes of preparation. Oh, Alaister,
wow.
you're muted.
Audio problem? Yeah, you are muted.
This time it's not me.
Wow.
No?
Oh, yep.
Oh, there we go.
We
No,
can
it
hear
popped
you
in
now.
for a second and then it popped
Great.
out again.
Oh no. It's the mic cable, so I'm just not going to touch it.
Do not touch. Do not move at all. Oh man, we got Alex joining us in the chat. Very exciting.
Hey,
from
Alex.
I believe Prismic and Front and Horse. Is that right? Yeah, very, very good to see you, Alex. And good morning. Ali is here. Awesome. Anyone else in the chat? Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, we like to know where people are signing in from.
Yeah, I guess to address the first thing first, we're at a completely different time now, right? This is much earlier than we're used to doing this. So yeah, I guess like just some quick history on the Supabase happy hour. It started off as the APAC happy hour, and we were just obnoxiously doing a stream when it was most convenient for us in the APAC region, which was like in the afternoon on Friday. And then it turns out that's not super convenient for the rest of the world. And so we finally listened to all of the requests to move this back a little bit to a more convenient time, so that our US friends can join us. And hopefully that doesn't ruin everything for our UK friends who may have been able, or our Europe friends maybe. I don't know. Time zones suck. They're very, very difficult.
Yeah. You can't
There is
get
no
it
time
right for
zone.
everyone.
No.
We could stay up all night.
We could stay up all
we
night.
could do like a
24-hour
hackathon. Yeah.
I've actually suggested this in the past. This might be something that we do in the future, is a try and do like a 24-hour hackathon where like everyone does just like a 2-hour stream, but we like hand off to the next person and the next person and like slowly build up one gigantic application. We
have enough people around the world.
That's actually nice.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah. Hello, Aiden, joining us from New Zealand. I know this one. Aiden and I caught up for a coffee this week. And so,
Nice.
yeah, after many, many times either pronouncing his name incorrectly or misremembering where he is coming from in the world, I now know from New Zealand. And it's apparently, it's hit just afternoon for New Zealand. So I think it's it's just past midday.
Way ahead of us.
In New Zealand. So they get to the happiest hour before the rest of the world.
Yeah,
and I'm getting some congratulations for getting it right. I did it. So happy hour. If this is the first time you're joining us because it's now at a convenient time, or if you forgot that we moved the time and you're now watching the archive stream of this being like, oh yeah, that's right, it's now at a really convenient time. This is just a live stream that we do each week. It's usually about 2 hours, and which, just breaks the name anyway. It's not the happy hour, it's the happy hours. But yeah, we just spend some time casually building out some kind of application. It'll probably use Supabase because we all work at Supabase, so we're pretty familiar with Supabase. But yeah, kind of focusing on building out different types of applications across a collection of streams. So last week we wrapped our first collection. Actually, I can pull it up right here. So last week we wrapped our collection where we were building a multi-platform app. So this is just episode 1 here, but I've created this playlist that has all of our different episodes that we did there. So all the way up to episode 9. And yeah, throughout this stream series, we were building a multi-platform app, so a real-time chat application that could be used by Next.js or Flutter. But our goal at the start was to build something that a Supabase backend that we didn't need to modify in any way to serve the Flutter application. So we built it entirely for the Next.js app, and then we just built a Flutter app that used the same Supabase backend without needing to make any tweaks, showing how awesome Next.js, Supabase, and Flutter are.
It worked out great, didn't it?
Yeah.
Building the Flutter app was a breeze. Thanks to Supabase.
It was an absolute breeze. So Tyler's just like, it was really easy building the Flutter application. Tyler was our Flutter expert on this one and managed to rebuild what took us like 8 streams or 7 streams or something to build in Next.js. We were building the Supabase backend, but we definitely spent a lot more time building the Next.js app than Tyler just coming in and smashing out the entire thing across 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So
I reckon
Tyler helped as well.
I know. I reckon you could have done it in 1 episode. Honestly, like we stretched that one out a bit. Like.
Yeah, I feel like you pumped the brakes a little bit to be like, all right, I won't show off too much. I'll make it seem like it needs to be 2 streams. We've got Johnny joining us saying we'll update those thumbnails, and so I've been spending all week with Johnny slowly tweaking small amounts of these thumbnails to the point where he's happy, and then after going out and publicizing this and going and changing the thumbnail on all of the videos, he's made a couple of small tweaks which we now need to go and roll out to all of those videos again. So love you, Johnny. Thank you for all your hard work. It's it's well appreciated. A quick introduction to us so that I can turn that big light off that's really annoying me. I'm Jon. I'm a developer advocate from Supabase. And I get to spend every week with these 2 doing fun stuff like this. Tyler, who are you?
Yeah, I'm Tyler, and I'm actually signing in from Japan. I'm also a developer at Supabase, and I mainly work on the Flutter side of things. But I have fun time here, building out web apps, Flutter apps, whatever it is. So yeah, what about you, Alaister? Who are you?
I'm Alaister. I'm usually on the front end team at Supabase, not the DevRel team, but I every week manage to sneak my way back onto stream, which is great because we have a blast here. And I think this week we've got a really good one for you, or the next few. I don't know how many this will take us, probably another 20 episodes if it's me and Jon again and not Tyler.
It'll be like 4, right? It'll be like 4 episodes and
yeah. Awesome. So some other cool things that have happened this week. So we wrapped the first kind of collection of Supabase Happy Hour. Or I'll just move this slightly like that. There we go. Now we're centered. All the tech set up. So we wrapped this. Go and check that out if you haven't watched it yet. In a previous stream, we talked about this where Jason put together this awesome example in his Learn with Jason stream where he started building out a real-time chat application with using Supabase and I think NX and React. And basically was building out a way to make conference talks more interactive, so giving the audience the ability to kind of agree or disagree with what he's saying in real time, which was very cool. He didn't quite get it working in the end, and so I made this follow-up video that he was so close, just like this far, and just kind of fixed up the last little bits of the example to get it working. This then inspired him to keep working on it, and so last week he put together this part 2 where he built the rest of the application or got it to a point where it's like a proper working usable thing. I highly recommend you go and check out that series of 3 videos because
nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Episode 2.
Cool.
I have to catch it as well.
Yeah. Next up we have this article by oh, that's cool.
You can hit
why is the header scrollable? Oh, right. No, just get rid of this. All right.
Gotta love the cookie pop-ups.
This is an article by Anna Polo from Very Good Ventures, where she looks at building out a Flutter app with a CLI and Supabase. And so, yeah, highly recommend you go and check this out. Yeah, very cool example of how you build an application with Supabase and Flutter, and also
Yeah,
how you
so
build a CLI.
yeah, so if you don't know who Very Good Ventures is, they're the leading company in Flutter community. They have many open source Flutter libraries that helps us build efficient Flutter apps, and they're just a collection of amazing people. And they put up an article on how you can get started building a Supabase app using their technology and our technology. So it's a really good article. If you haven't checked it out yet, you have to check it out. It's just nice.
Awesome. And yeah, they've just, I believe, announced their Series B. I think I was just seeing. Very good
Series,
ventures.
was it B or A?
Series A. Series A. There we go. Series A. So yeah, huge congrats to them as well for securing that funding to do some cool stuff into the future and hopefully build even more cool stuff with Supabase.
Yeah, for sure.
Another cool thing that went out this week was another Supabase tips video. So I believe this one was Andrew, right?
No, this one's actually me as well.
Oh, this is you as well. Awesome.
Yep.
I mean, I watched it. Yeah. I will watch
Did
it.
you?
I mean, it's only 1 minute and 54 seconds. I don't know why I didn't just watch it before the stream. But Tyler has put together, he's been doing these awesome, are they officially weekly tips? Are we committing you to weekly tips, or should we not say that?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
When
We'll do our
Tyler
best
has
to
the
put up
time
video
tips.
on the weekly. Yeah.
I think you should make them as often as possible. I find them very soothing. It's just
Yeah,
like
maybe we should do
you know.
daily tips.
Oh.
You
Yeah,
know
but
enough
this, you
tips from Supabase to put something together daily, right?
more than 300 episodes a year. Are we gonna have that many small tips? I don't know.
Wow.
We'll see.
Easy.
It's a lot of tips.
That's a lot of tips. But yeah, this episode is about count. It's just minute and a half or minute, well, 2 minutes long. So if you just go check it out. But yeah, it's about a count option in Supabase, how you can retrieve the number of rows using Supabase. It's super simple. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out.
Awesome. And as Alaister called out just then, they are super calming. Listening to Tyler's voice calmly explain with some nice music behind it, some easy things that you can do in Supabase. It's very calming, very nice. The next one is an article I put out yesterday, which is using the brand new Next.js 12.2 on-demand ISR. So you can now on-demand rebuild static pages using incremental static regeneration. So rather than, if you're familiar with Next.js, you can pass a revalidate prop, which basically says like this content is considered fresh for like 60 seconds or whatever. And so you can now on demand revalidate that. So recall get static props and generate a static page. So yes, I wrote an article as to how you can automate a whole system using Supabase function hooks, where you can kind of subscribe to changes in the database, and anytime those changes happen, you can call this on-demand incremental static regeneration revalidate API route and automatically refresh your content. So basically, you can have all of the performance benefits of a static site, but have entirely fresh content, or nearly entirely fresh content. Obviously, there'll be like a small amount of time where a change happens. You got to wait for a webhook to call something and do that in the background, but you don't have to just kind of guess like, yeah, let's just stab in the dark. Like 60 seconds is how long I want to consider this to be fresh. Yeah, very cool article. Go and check it out. And the next, there's just been so much content coming out recently from either the Supabase team or the community. It's just awesome. So sorry we're spending so much time in this piece of content talking about all the other pieces of content, but there's just so much cool stuff that you can go and check out. And this is all just from like pretty much this week or the last couple of weeks. So the next one is this Flutter tutorial that Tyler put together. So what's this one talking about?
Yeah, so this one's pretty similar to the Happy Chat that we've been building, especially towards the beginning. So if you've been catching us, coding Happy Chat app, at the beginning, we started out by creating a massive room where everybody can join and everybody can talk about it, talk about whatever they want to, and there's no like authorization. This tutorial goes as far as that. So this tutorial is focusing on creating a real-time chat app without much of the authorization piece. So focusing on real-timeness of Supabase, where you'll learn how to set up your Supabase properly and set up the real time and how you can subscribe to real time changes and incorporate basic authentication as well. So yeah, if you're interested in creating a real time chat app using Flutter and Supabase, go check this article out. And there's gonna be more series coming on top of this. So we'll add authentication, authorization. We'll probably add storage as well at some point. It'll be exciting.
I was about to put you on the spot yet again and say, hey, Tyler, is this going to be a series or is this going to be an individual article? So I'm glad that you owned up to that. But yeah, there will be more follow-up articles coming out on this same topic, which I'm very excited about. We have lots of people joining us in the chat. Maybe this is a more convenient time than our obnoxious APAC happy hour time that we were doing before.
5:40. That's some
5:40.
dedication.
Yeah.
Not for India, apparently.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Sorry that it's not
Thank you so
a
much.
little bit more convenient. But yeah, as we said before, it's kind of impossible to be convenient for the whole world unless we just run like 2 of these streams, I guess. Maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should just run a daily stream rather than the daily Supabase
Tyler
chats.
can do
What if
it.
we just
Tyler
do
can Supabase tip, Flutter blog post every day, stream every day.
Yeah, like we work.
You don't need to sleep, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
That is some next level things.
And yes, we've got someone joining us from Istanbul in Turkey.
I think it's 3 in the morning in Istanbul.
Wow.
3 in the...
That's
Thank you.
See, I feel like we've got more people
Yeah.
joining us, and then just like going through the chat, it seems like it's all just people in the middle of the night again. I feel like we're never going to win with this. And that's no good. Sudarshan has said that they recently tried running Supabase on DigitalOcean Docker Droplet. It gave you so much pain and it didn't work. So let us know what kinds of problems you ran into there, because we'd love to work out what's going on there and get it fixed.
Yeah. GitHub discussion
Jonathan?
is a great place to post these things where you can get tips from other devs or Supabase teams. So
good call. So if we go to github.com/supabase/supabase, and I could have just typed /discussions, but if we go over to discussions and create a new discussion, this is an awesome place to either get help from the Supabase team or the community. But most importantly, start a discussion about something that could either be fixed, improved, or that might just have a small piece of configuration or something missing that someone can help you out with. We have Jonathan saying, how is it going? It's going fantastically.
It's good.
It's a nice day. Well, it's not really a nice day here in Melbourne, Australia.
It's
pretty
nice
pretty cloudy and miserable.
It's a very hot day in Tokyo.
Oh, really?
It
is because it's summer. Hot, because you're in the northern hemisphere. I forget because you're so close. I forget, like, as in, like, you're in, like, time zone wise, you're very close to us. You're only like 2 hours different. So I forget that you're like 6 months offset in terms of seasons and things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
33 degrees going up to the top of 37. Oh, that is that is warm.
That is.
I hope that WeWork's got good aircon.
Yeah.
They do actually, yeah.
And then we've got Oguz saying that folks, it is 3:17 a.m. here, so sorry about that. I hope you have some very strong coffee to keep you going.
Early morning or late night for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we had someone saying they were considering tuning in, but it was going to be like 2 a.m. and they were saying, should I stay up or should I go to bed and set an alarm? And for me, that's definitely like, stay up. You don't set an alarm for 2 o'clock in the morning. You just a strong coffee and stay awake. And
we have someone from Tokyo.
Yeah,
nice. Hiroshi, thanks for joining us.
Very cool.
Very hot. It's not cool at all. It's very hot.
All right.
It's very hot in Tokyo. Yep.
So, what are we going to build today? What are we going to start building?
That's a
Great
good question. Well, I think, SaaS is the criteria. So, now's the time if you're in chat and you've had a great, reasonably simple SaaS idea, post it now. And
Reasonably
never
simple,
know.
or
Build
like
it. Yeah.
really complex, so that we have a whole bunch of streams to build it. But yeah, we're thinking like we did with the previous stream. We kind of have an idea for like what kind of thing we want to build. So I think we want to build a SaaS product, and so some kind of thing that has subscription-based billing. I'm assuming we'll use Stripe probably for that.
I hope so.
There's a lot of examples of using Supabase and Stripe, probably somewhat because we have a developer advocate who joined us from Stripe, Thor, who is not with us today, but is awesome DevRel and seems to, for some reason, create a whole bunch of awesome content using Stripe and Supabase together. So we will probably be using Stripe. We're thinking maybe having like different payment tiers, so being able to unlock like different amounts of things. So if you think of like a SaaS, like what's a good SaaS? Well, I guess like Supabase.
Supabase, yeah.
We're a SaaS company. That's right. I remember now. And we use Stripe, probably. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. So with Supabase, you have this free tier, a very generous free tier, that allows you to do a whole bunch of stuff. And then if you are using this to build a successful product and you want to unlock some of those higher tier features, then you can pay a monthly subscription. And I believe we have 2 tiers, maybe one for enterprise and one for something else, maybe. I know Supabase. I've used Supabase before.
So the pro tier, you can start from $25 a month, and you can basically get more of everything. So more storage space, more database space, more authenticated user, monthly active user, and all of that. And enterprise is just, if you want way beyond that, you can talk to us about the specific needs and we can come up with a plan.
Yeah, awesome. So yes, building something similar to this where, on the free tier, you have certain features. On the pro tier, you have slightly more. And then maybe an enterprise thing that does have still a fixed cost. So maybe we'll go like $50 a month or something like that. And that will give you even more things. So this is kind of the concept that we're building. But that can be, I guess the point of this is that this can be applied to any kind of SaaS, like that kind of usage-based SaaS, or like unlocking features at different tiers. That's a very common pattern for SaaS products. And so we can build anything that we want to build. And so highly recommend in the chat, give us some ideas for things that you would like to build. You can totally use us to build your next big enterprise side project, your next big startup idea. You can basically get free labor from the Supabase team to build it out, because it'll be in an open source repo at the end of this series. So highly recommend that. We have Aiden is saying an AI YouTube tag generator. That would be a very good idea.
Do you guys know AI?
Yeah, not really.
You might run into a bit of a problem there.
I worked for a company that was like an arm within a university that was like entirely focused on AI stuff, but I was like in the front end team, so it still doesn't help us at all. But that is a good idea, and I hope you're not taking a stab at the fact that we haven't tagged all of our YouTube videos correctly, because maybe we do need this system to exist.
Yeah.
An e-learning platform.
That's an interesting one.
Idea. Yeah. So
Alaister, didn't you used to own a business, or do you still own a business like this?
Well, it's my small startup, but it's not really an e-learning platform. I don't know how to describe it. So, but yeah, an e-learning platform might be good for this example if we build it, instead of building it like I think there's a company called Podia.com, but they do both sides of it. So they sit as like the middleman. But we could just slim it down to be a bit more simple, where we could just do like host your own e-learning platform. Like if you're Wes Boss or something, or Scott Tolinsky, I know they both run their own sites. So maybe if you wanted to release a course, you could clone this repo and host your own e-learning platform. So we're not doing both sides of it. And then it's just for, I don't know, we could have products that you go up, and then you could, I don't know, sell those with the Stripe subscription. You could have multiple tiers. Yeah, it could work well.
That is a very good call. We could do that. I feel like, wait, did I do this? I feel like, so I have a build a SaaS product course, which I'm just going to plug now, which is a free community resource on Egghead. And so you can go and watch this 1 hour and 10-minute course and learn how to build a SaaS product with Next.js, Supabase, and Stripe. So this will be, like some of the stuff will be similar here, but I don't think I went into like usage-based tiers or anything like that. It was just kind of dealing with the subscription side of it. But highly recommend you go and check out that course. But I think in this course, I think maybe I did build did I build a course platform? I definitely built a course platform in something using a SaaS. So if we did stick with that example, it would be very convenient, but also maybe that content already exists somewhere.
You're creating a course platform or on a course platform, Egghead.
Very meta.
It's very meta, yeah. It may have been just because I was like lacking the creativity to come up with an actual example. I'm like, quick, what's a SaaS example that's in front? Oh, Egghead, the thing that I'm building this for. What is that? That's an e-learning platform. Let's go with it. Maybe it was a lack of creativity on my part. I think we could focus on edge functions. I know it's beta. I believe you guys make it better. Yes, so we will definitely be using edge functions. If you think about the way that even taking the SaaS part of it out, if you think of just an e-commerce platform, so anything that can take payments, those payments are happening asynchronously off somewhere, like in Stripe system. And so Stripe needs a way to tell Supabase, hey, this person has paid for this particular product. And so, we will probably be using edge functions for that. So we could create an edge function in Supabase, and that is hosted with a URL and is just waiting for Stripe to send a message to it saying this person paid for this product, and then we can go and update the database. So I think we'll definitely be using edge functions.
While we're talking about what technology we'll be using, I feel like one part of Supabase that doesn't get enough emphasis is storage. I think there's not enough storage examples out there, especially not in the video format, right? I don't think we have a video explaining, the row-level security around storage or whatnot and everything about it. So I thought it would be really nice if we could incorporate storage as well. But what do you guys think?
That is an excellent idea. And that is, firstly, exactly what you would, if we wanted to like stick with the e-commerce example, then we wouldn't need to like upload videos to YouTube. We could put them directly in storage, and then we could restrict access to those particular things. But then on top of that, big files is probably the thing that you don't want to give your users open access to uploading into your application. So implementing this kind of usage-based system around how much stuff they could upload, how many files, or how big the files are, I think that is a very good use case. And we're getting a lot of agreeing with Tyler about the storage. So I think we just go with it. I recently joined a project where we decided to migrate an existing application to Supabase, but the manager's concern is, what if one day Supabase decided to shut down themselves? So this is a totally valid concern, an excellent question. The cool thing about Supabase that I think sets it apart from other options, other like database hosting services, is that all of these tools just wrap around a Postgres database. And so like we give you Auth, we give you file storage, we give you all of these things, but at the end of the day, you have a Postgres database, which if Supabase did happen to completely fold, you could just dump out your entire database and then go and host it somewhere else. Or even, it doesn't matter if Supabase falls apart because it's an open source project. And so if you wanted to not use the Supabase hosting, but you wanted to host it somewhere yourself, so go and host it on AWS or something like that, even if the Supabase project folded, you would still have all of your stuff. Like you would still have the latest version of whatever Supabase was hosted off somewhere in your infrastructure that has nothing to do with Supabase anymore. Yeah. What do you two think? Anything to add on that?
Open source rules.
Yeah.
I was
Open
gonna say the
source,
same
yeah.
thing.
All I
Yeah,
have to add.
The answer
power
to all
of open
concerns.
source. Yeah.
And then kind of related to SaaS, I would love to hear about multi-tenancy approaches using Supabase.
That's all, yeah,
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah.
That could be like, I think we'll even like keep that as a separate series on the back burner, because that's a really cool yeah, got a lot of ideas
Yeah,
there.
totally.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're right. That's like its own whole thing. That's like, yeah, you have the kind of 3 tiers of money making products, and there's like e-commerce where you have products and people can buy individual products or like a cart of products or whatever. You have SaaS, which is like subscription based billing, and then you have multi-tenancy where you can basically like sell like stores to other companies within your platform. So yeah, I think definitely something we should look at building as a later stream for sure. So this can be part 1. We're going to build a SaaS, and then we will move on to looking at that later. And Alaister Young is commenting in the comments.
Well, thanks for your
Who's that
comment,
guy?
Alistair.
I think we should build a timeline journaling app so I can remember what I did last week. That is an excellent idea as well. We should probably send Alaister some swag for contributing in the comments.
Wait, there we go. Some swag.
Look,
yes,
we sent
that
him
I-
some swag.
Nice.
Got there that quickly. That's fantastic. All right. So we are thinking, let's build a SaaS product. And yeah, in terms of other technologies, we had a bit of a chat debate last time as to whether we were what we were going to use for the front end. And there was kind of two camps of people saying either Next.js or Remix. And at one point, Remix was out in front, and then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of Next.js people dumped like Next.js into the comments and tipped the scales. So we ended up building the last example in Next.js. So unless the chat wants to suggest a completely different framework and put us on the spot and try and make us build something in a language that we've never used, like Tyler made us do for the last 2 episodes, we are probably going to build this one with Remix to level out the scales. So if you're not familiar with Remix, it is a fairly new web framework built on React. So it's very similar to Next.js or Gatsby. They're both sort of built on top of React. So things like Svelte are a completely different language built on Svelte, but Next.js, Gatsby, and now Remix are all built on top of React. And so the thing that they kind of add that that is kind of missing from React and a lot of obviously client-side front-end web applications is some kind of server logic. And so we kind of moved everything to the front end, and then we went, oh wait, we need some server stuff. Servers are actually really, really helpful, and they're good for like securing things, and they're good for like authentication and stuff like that. And so yeah, Remix is as well as Next.js and SvelteKit and all of these different web frameworks are kind of bundling together a front-end framework that then has some server-side bits sprinkled in. So if you're familiar with like Next.js API routes, or the functions that run on the server, like get server-side props or get static props, they're all things that run on the server in Next.js. And in Remix, we have loaders and actions. So yeah, maybe I won't jump into like teaching all of Remix just from this landing page. Maybe we should step through actually building an example. But yeah, we're going to be using Remix. And so I think in this first episode, this first stream, we probably just want to like create a Supabase backend, have a think about how our data might be structured, and maybe connect it to Remix, and maybe get authentication and stuff set up so that we've got at least those two talking to each other, and get the kind of basic skeleton of the application down. And then in future streams, we'll build out all that lovely SaaS-y goodness that can earn everybody lots of money. And this is just going to be our side hustle. So Tyler, Alaister, and myself are just going to basically run our own side company next to Supabase, built on this product, like we're doing with our new enterprise features that we're going to launch for Happy Chat in the future, which was our previous example that we
Startup,
built
yeah.
in Next.js and Flutter. So that was our previous startup. We're still going to run that on the side, but now we're gonna start a new SaaS enterprise. All right, so
Nice. I'm excited.
Jonathan is saying forfeit remix, go for fresh. Haven't even heard of fresh. It sounds super fresh. It sounds very,
I watched
very
the video
new.
recently. Alice, I
Okay.
think you're muted again.
Oh, Alaister.
What is up with this? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, fresh. I think it's I saw the video from Fireship that it seemed really nice, but I don't know the full details.
I don't think we're ready to build the application in fresh just yet. Maybe give us a few more months. Maybe we'll look back at this in a year and be like, remember that time that was like the first time we heard about fresh, and now it's like taken over all of like front end development and everyone knows fresh. Look how little we knew about it then. Maybe this is that point. And yeah, Aiden is saying that Alaister seems to have a smart idea. So I think this is about doing the journaling app. So we could do a timeline journaling app, but I reckon we go with some kind of file storage thing where we can drop in. Oh, you're muted again. What's happening? We can't hear you, Alaister.
Now we hear you. Oh wait.
Well, if you completely unplug it.
Now, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Yes.
What? I'm just gonna like try and sit with my hands on my head or something, because it's like I can't. I'm not
no more
touching it. I swear.
gesticulating. You're getting
I
too.
know. It's not. The light is flashing on the thing, so like it looks like it's working. But there you go. Technology.
Well, last week we were having a whole bunch of tech issues with my camera dropping out, and I worked out that it was because the battery. I think I've treated it so poorly by just leaving it plugged in as a webcam all day that the battery, I think, has deteriorated to the point where it doesn't really charge anymore. And for some reason, when I have it plugged into power, it's trying to charge the battery and power the camera, and that just wasn't enough. So every time it detected that the battery was too low, it just dropped out. So I've bought a new dummy battery, which tricks it into thinking there's a battery and just tells it to stay on forever. So if it all just catches fire, that's what's happened. All right. We're building a SaaS product. We're building it in Remix, and we are going to build a file storage thing where we have usage restrictions on either the amount of files that can be uploaded or the size of them. Oh, Alaister's got an idea.
Well, I'm just going to keep pitching you my timeline journaling app real hard. You could upload like pictures or files or whatever, related to that day. And you could, on our different tiers, we could limit the file size you could upload to that specific journal entry.
Because another thing that we wanted to do with this one is give people the opportunity to actually extend it outside of the stream. And something like that sounds perfect, where you have, like, I'm imagining kind of like a Notion-esque UI. And we're not going to waste everyone's time building out that in these streams, because that would, like, obviously you're here to see cool stuff built with either Supabase or other cool stuff. It's probably, we're not designers. If you saw Happy Chat, that's
Tailwind,
about
of course.
Yeah, as good as you're gonna get. So yeah, highly recommend that. If we did something like this, that would give people the opportunity to maybe submit PRs to implement a much nicer design, make it look nice, and then we can give them a shout out at the start of the next stream and kind of like review their PR and merge in what has changed, and then definitely send them lots of swag. So yeah, big contributions get big swag, or maybe small swag if you're a size small, but whatever size swag you would like.
We've got all the sizes. It actually, I think we've changed who we're shipping it with, because like the first lot of swag took forever to come, but now this next lot that I got came in like 3 days. It was great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so swag delivered to you fast. No guarantees, but from one anecdotal,
Maybe I should put through another order because we made a design with like my face on it as like a Supabase / Jon.
That's cute. Yeah.
And then I've only just recently got like the one shirt that I put in an order for initially, and it's too small. And so I think I need to put in another order for a larger shirt. And so yeah, that's good to know that they come quickly. But yes, if you want a t-shirt with my face on it, that is one of the swag options that you could look at totally getting if you want to contribute, either in just chatting to us in the chat, keeping us company and making us feel important, or by doing some awesome contributions to the GitHub repo once we get all of that set up. So should we start with Supabase or should we start with Remix?
Well, we've actually got even another choice on top of that. Do we start with building the journaling functionality, or do we start with building the SaaS billing side of things?
Good point. Well, I think the SaaS part is probably going to be like that's going to be a lot of configuration on the Stripe side as well. So maybe as a first part, maybe it would be good to get the journal side of it done.
I'm into it.
So kind of building a schema around being able to enter in a journal entry for the day, and then we can look at actually implementing the SaaS stuff separately, which is probably a more realistic thing as well. Like you probably would spend time building out the functionality of like the idea that you have, and then you get to a point where you're like, I want to make money on this. How do I take this like isolated concept and then add like SaaS payment stuff to it? So yeah, let's do that. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Supabase, here we come.
Supabase, let's do it. All right. So where's my cursor? There's my cursor. If we go, I didn't realize if you go to app.supabase.com, this jumps directly to, if you're signed in, it'll jump directly to your projects. But if you're not, it'll just have like a nice sign-in button. I always say to just go to supabase.com and then like come over here and click start your project or whatever. But that just comes across to app.supabase.com. So there you go. The things you learn when you're working with Supabase every single day. Yeah, we should do a small
That's gonna be one of the daily Supabase tips video.
If we go to daily, that's about the quality of what we'll get for our daily tips.
It would be like a Netlify Meta-Day project. Save you so much time by going, a whole day a week just by going to app.supabase.
Absolutely. So I'm going to create a new project. We have a happy hour organization.
We have a happy hour thing.
Oh, nice.
Tyler, have I added you to that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, excellent. And we're going to give it a project name. Alaister, do you have a great name?
Oh, no. Not naming things. Well, let's quickly throw it back to chat, because I think chat named Happy Chat before.
Oh, they did, yeah. And
the backup is Happy Journaling or something like that.
Happy Day.
Yeah.
Actually, Happy Day is an excellent name. But if anyone can top Happy Day, then definite swag codes coming. So help us out, chat. What are we going to call this? Naming things
while they're doing that, you can go and put in a password that you
thank you so much.
This is a great way to highlight this new feature. So we gotta generate a password button.
I forgot about that.
So
that's great.
Until recently, you had to enter your own password. You had to come up with your own random password, which could be a pain. But now that we have this generate a random password button, that's just it. It just creates a new random password, and you don't even have to come up with a random password.
Remember to copy it though, Jon.
Yeah.
Good call.
You can actually always come back and edit it later on, right? I think I've done that before. So you can get by without like copying it. I think you'll be fine. If you need it ever, I think you can always override it with something else. And
that is an amazing tip. Just that little button. You have no idea how much this is. Every single stream that I do, and every single
guy behind Supabase tips. Yeah.
Like when I do a YouTube video, every single time I get to this point and I'm like, shit, gotta go generate a thing. And then every single time I have to edit that chunk of the video out. You just saved me like 10 seconds of editing for every video.
That's what Supabase tips does, right?
That's fantastic. All right. Do we have any good ideas in the chat? Are we going to stick with our green and pink design system? Well, I mean, we'll definitely be using Tailwind. Or well, I guess maybe not definitely. Would you two like to use Tailwind again?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the easiest.
So
one.
it's likely
But-
that we'll probably just throw in some some colors that are already defined for us.
Should
But that
we-
is an excellent thing for if you did want to contribute to this project once we push it up to GitHub. Doing some actual nice Tailwind styling would be a very swaggable contribution.
Actual nice Tailwind
Yeah.
styling. Sound like Happy Chat wasn't actually nice.
Aiden has suggested Super Notes. That's a very cool name. I like that. What do you think, Alaister?
I'm thinking I'm still on your happy day example, but I'm like maybe we go with the common expression happy days, like plural.
Happy Days. Oh yeah.
Happy days.
Happy
It could be
days.
like themed like Happy Days, the show. One of us could
I
be
did not
Fonzie, and
even
every
know
now
that
and
was a
again
show.
we'll add like a
that's
little.
why I was not born.
Is this a American show or Australian show? I don't know. I don't know the show.
Oh
either.
really? You don't know what this is?
I don't know what
is
it
this
is.
American?
That's-
Is this
Oh.
Aussie?
No, it's not. No, definitely. Wait, is it? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is a US show. It has to be a US show.
Looks like
But
it.
it is a US show. But it's I didn't realize it's from 1974. I laughed when you said you weren't born, but I also wasn't. None of us were born. 1974.
I really
I'm
wasn't
89,
born.
which is so I was a good 15 years later was when I was born. All right. So there's this guy called the Fonz, and he hits jukeboxes with his hand, and they start working and stuff. You don't know this trope from like Simpsons or anything?
That's the most random thing I've ever heard.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go through this off stream. I'll educate both of you as to what Happy Days actually is.
For
But
sure.
basically just like a really cheesy I thought it was an 80s show, but a really cheesy 70s show about kind of revolving around a bar kind of. All right, I'm on my own. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead or stop while I'm behind. All right, so Happy Days is a good one. Happy Notes is good. Happy Base.
Hmm.
You can update it, not edit it.
I think that's
Talking about the
password.
database
Yeah.
password.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So if you use Andrew, SiloWorks.
Oh right, I didn't even notice.
Why are you in the stream
Different
with
picture.
us?
The
Just
picture's
come join us.
changed.
Yeah.
Why are you still awake? Oh yeah, right. Because we moved to the time, so now people can potentially attend. I still feel like
Is it
it's not a
convenient?
good time for Andrew.
Yeah.
It's not a happy time of the day. Super Happy Notes. Oh, that's actually I kind of like that.
Hmm.
Super happy fun time notes. But we can't give Andrew swag.
He's too big for that.
Aiden's suggesting we could try Chakra UI this time.
Interesting.
We might stick with Tailwind just because we have some experience with it, and like it might take a little bit of time to like. It's not kind of the fun part looking at how to style something, but again, that's maybe a really good contribution. Is if you wanted to swap out some of those components, or just swap out Tailwind entirely and just use Chakra UI components, that would be an awesome contribution. Days with a Z.
You could also do with
write...
the I with a instead of the Y, you do an I, like Happy Days. That's another. I don't like it.
Happy DAIZ.
No, like HAPPI. Happy.
Happy Days. I like it.
No, I just want the good old Happy Days.
I like the long one here, like Happy Days with Supabase. Any product that uses Supabase should like tack onto the end with Supabase. I like it. And yeah, Andrew's confirming it is absolutely not convenient timing for him. It is like 10 to 1 in the morning. So
wow, thanks for joining us, Andrew.
You should go to bed. But thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And please steer us in the right direction if we say wild things like you can edit database passwords later. Happy Days could be motivated. I think Happy Days is quite nice, although Super Duper Happy Notes. That's pretty good. All right, let's go with happy days for now.
Yep.
And yeah, it fits the naming convention of happy chat, happy days. Are we doing like happy, or are we doing happy, or are we doing happy?
I think without Y is fine. Yeah.
Right.
Regular
Yeah,
happy.
just like normal.
Yeah.
We've generated our password. Let's copy that and put it in our planning notes for the show, and hopefully never publicize those planning notes. The region, again, we're mostly over this side of the world, closest to Sydney. Well, actually, I guess Tyler is closest to Tokyo. But I'm going to go Sydney because I'll
Sydney's
probably
pretty
be
close,
driving,
yeah.
and we don't want it to take too long. And I'm going to put mine on the free tier.
Maybe
This
we
SaaS is
could
for making
use,
money, not spending money.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, maybe we could give Chakra a go. I used it ages ago because I know Thor has just done a was it a meetup in Dubai with
Yeah.
the creator
Yeah.
of Chakra UI.
Oh,
So
right.
I think there
Right.
is some.
I am a big fan of Liza Nicole Love, who is DevRel at Chakra, and he puts together awesome examples. I always like look at them and like, that looks really cool, and then I just haven't spent time actually learning Chakra. So maybe this is the time. Is it the time?
I think it's pretty simple. Yeah. Well, we could give it a go.
Right.
We've got the in between streams for people to come and give us PRs and fix all of our mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll just send it to Lazar and say, what have we done wrong? Fix it for us, like I did for Jason Lengstorff. I feel like that's, now that I've done that for him, other people should do it for us, and we'll keep that rotating around.
Nice.
All right, cool. So we've
Okay.
stored long enough that our application has actually been provisioned and deployed. So should we start with the schema, build that out, and then look at a separate piece of building our Remix application?
Yep. I think it's
like
going to be
that.
like one whole table called
Oof.
entries or something.
Great
crazy. SaaS. You know, you can get a long way with just one table.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. Like, most SaaS ideas are like pretty kind of like isolated ideas. Like, it solves one problem well, and so having one table is
there you go.
totally
Aiden's going to help out. That's awesome.
excellent.
Nice.
Oh, not that one. This one. Excellent. All right. You can, every time we're doing the wrong thing, just like shout in all caps in the chat, and we'll try and pay attention and fix it. All right. So we have entries. Do we want to enable row level security?
I think that's probably a good idea.
It's recommended. Let's do it. Do we want? Oh yeah. See, this is a tick box that I don't think was here last. At the start of the last one.
This is a new.
It's beautiful.
Checkbox.
So this is like something that like everyone. In fact, this is what Jason forgot in the Learn with Jason stream. Like, you need to go and turn on replication for the tables that you actually want to listen to events on. And so if we're ever going to want to do this in the future, it's a good idea to just enable it while we're creating the table, and then we don't have to run through that mistake later.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So we have an ID.
To say I had some part in that, but I didn't really. It was all Josh, and so shout out to him. I just clicked approve on the PR. That's all I did.
Hey, you approved it. That means you did 50% of the work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be in the code base unless you both did your parts. So
makes sense.
Since we're on stream with Alaister, I know that I need to change this to a UUID. Because we always need to use UUIDs for our IDs because they look nicer and more professional, and they're less guessable by just incrementing the number by 1. And now if we click these 3 little dots, we can call this UUID generate v4 function, which is something that's given to us by Supabase, which is just basically going to generate a new UUID for us. So this is just a value that's going to be generated for us. We don't need to think about it anymore. Our created at, we're going to make this turn off is nullable, because it doesn't make sense for like this created at has a default value of when we created the thing. It doesn't really make sense to have a, hey, can you fix that, Alaister? That doesn't make any sense. In all of my videos recently, I've been turning that off. Would you ever want the created at to be like wiped?
Yeah, I always do the same thing where I, uncheck is nullable every time.
I feel like
So-
it's more of a specific use case to want to be able to nullify the created at timestamp than it would be to not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll just sneak in there, put out a sneaky PR that
Yeah.
because I'd love to like
Nice.
check enable row level security by default as
By
well.
default,
Because
yeah.
if it's got the recommended badge next to it.
Totally. I understand
Why
not
not, right?
ticking this one by default just because it's like the whole point of it not being enabled by default is that it's an extra resource that needs to be running constantly to listen to those changes. Like there's a lot of infrastructure that's running there, so you wouldn't necessarily want that on every single table unless you're actually going to use real time with it. But yeah, the row level security, obviously you would. The problem is though, we need, yeah, if you want to get meta and talk about it from Supabase's side, I think we tried this recently. We put it on by default, and then just like constant people online were like, I can't get Supabase to work. I just created a table and I can't read from it. And so I think, yeah, if we were to enable it by default, we need really good documentation. Just not let people fall off that path. Make it impossible to not realize that you need to write a policy to actually enable reading or writing. All right, let's add a column. What's our column going to be? Is this going to be...
I think we'll have like a title and a content. Like I reckon it'd be cool to have a title on there so you can like, name your journal entry like the worst day of my life.
very, very dramatic.
That sort of
I like
thing.
it. All right, so this is going to be a text field, presumably. And we probably don't want this to be nullable because it doesn't really make sense for us to have a journal entry.
Maybe you could put a journal entry in without a title. It's only if you want to be dramatic, perhaps.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. It is nullable.
What won't be nullable is like a content field. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoop, not that. Oh, no, broken everything. Going out of full screen.
Clicking the buttons.
Destroying the illusion. Right, content, text, but this one we don't want to be nullable. So this will just be the content of our actual post. Are we going to go far enough to like make this markdown?
We probably could do. It's Remix. It's easy.
Yeah.
I think that's
nice. Yeah, that's true. It is easy in Remix, isn't it?
Yeah, server side.
Well, I think MDX files are easy. Like it'll just display MDX files by default. But I guess this wouldn't be a file. This would be like getting MDX. It's still not hard. We just need to run it through marked. And yeah, it's about that hard.
No, yeah. I think the last field we want though is to have like a date field. So you might not put on a journal entry on the specific day that you write it. So I don't know if we want to repurpose our created at date for that,
like a published date.
Yeah. Sure.
Or would it be like entry date?
Yeah, it's just date.
Just date. That won't be confusing later at all. I guess they are entries, so it is the entries date. So, yeah. That makes sense. You have a whole list of dates to choose from. What kind of date would you like?
I would like a timestamp TZ, please.
That is a good idea. Do you want to explain to the nice people at home what timestamp TZ is? TZ.
Well, it's TZ. No, I've just kind of defaulted to saying Z now on the internet because I'm.
Do you spell color without a U if you're not writing CSS?
Color. No. I just like to use timestamp. Like time zones are hard if there's you really don't want to mess about with time zones unless you really know what you're doing. So when using timestamp TZ, it's kind of just like Postgres handles it for you, and which I'm very happy for it to do. So if you call like the now function, for example, it will just work it out for you.
That's a good idea. Yeah. So we would want to call now initially. So if we don't pass it a date, it would just assume, well, yeah, you probably want this to be an entry for today. But if you explicitly wanted to provide it a date, then you could do that. So in that case, everything would always have a date, right?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. So we don't want that to be nullable.
How are you gonna incorporate storage like files, I guess image files into this? Are they gonna be like part of the content, or are we gonna have like a separate Like, is it
I
gonna
think
be
we'll have
one
a
image per
attachments.
day and or
No, we'll
multiple
just have
images?
another table, like an attachments table, and you could just put all
Sure.
sorts of files on there. Like, who
Okay.
knows, maybe
That's clever.
yeah, you
Yeah,
zip
okay.
things, who knows? But I think
Mm.
I think we got one more column still, and that's just a user ID, which we can
yeah.
link up to our.
Yeah.
Do we want this to be user ID, or do we want to make this even more natural, like an author?
It's up to you.
I feel like I always go
quite
user
happy.
ID, and then later I always want to be like, like entry.author rather than like entry.
Well, you'll want to call it entry.author ID here, because in Postgres the constraint will make it come out as author anyway.
True.
So
All right, we're pulling it in. We're just doing
user
It's
ID.
not actually making it any nicer. If we were doing, you're right. We still need to join it onto another table, and that's what we would call whatever we want. So, all right, you've won me over. We want to connect this. Oh, this is interesting. Do we need a table in between?
I don't think so, because it's your own thing. We're not sharing any entries between people, so we can just link it straight up to the auth.users table.
Sick. So what we were just trying to work through for a second was if you so this auth.users table is a special table that exists in Supabase, and this is because we provide auth to you. And so auth.users is a special table that's like created and kind of looked after by Supabase. So it's not a table that we modify directly. So if you want to store some additional data about your user, which we will actually need to do later, because I guess when we have a profile, when we have a user, we'll probably need to associate a Stripe ID with them to be able to map them to Stripe. So we'll probably need a profile table or something in between to say, here's some extra data about our user. The other option is that we could just throw it in just throw it in the app metadata or the user metadata.
Oh yeah, that's what I think we'll do in this case, because it's you can read your own user metadata.
Because we don't need to share any of this between anyone else. And if we wanted to, we could write a view that's super leaky. I've discovered since doing that, every time I post about, I wrote an article about how to do this, and it turns out it just bypasses RLS and does a whole bunch of stuff until next version of Postgres, apparently, which a beta came out, I think, like yesterday or something. So Postgres 15 is going to allow you to.
There are so many good features in Postgres 15.
I think. I
Nice.
don't want to make big claims, but I've been making big claims this whole series and putting people on the spot. So I'm going to say Supabase is probably going to upgrade to PG 15 pretty quickly for new projects.
Sounds like
at
more.
Least.
It
might be hard to migrate old projects, but I would say new projects will probably have Postgres 15 pretty soon after it comes out. There's my big claim of the day.
Andrew has a comment about this.
I just wanted to quickly finish this off so I can create the table. So we're connecting this to the auth.users table, and we're referencing the ID column. And then we don't ever want this to be nullable, because you always need to have an author for any what's the name of this table? Entry. Any entries that you're writing. Now when I click save, this is going to go create that. So Andrew, if you do link it to the auth.users table, you won't have any way to show the user information when using the Supabase JS library, as you can't query tables not in the public schema by default. So yes, this was something that that I was just saying. I wrote an example of how to do this using a Postgres view. And so you can create a view which then exists in the public schema, which is able to query across different schemas, and we can kind of expose anything we want through there. But also, if you wanted to do this properly, you could, or if for what I was doing, it didn't matter that I was exposing those values. It was intentional to expose those values. But if you only wanted, like if you still wanted that to be protected by RLS, then you could write a Postgres function that basically stitched together those two tables and gave you the parts that you need. So yeah, I guess for this, I don't know. Let's go, since we went with last time building out the profile table and having that kind of in-between bit to store any additional parts of data about the user. I reckon for this example, we see what it looks like if we don't do that, and see if we run into any problems and how we might solve them, because it might be
Nice.
an interesting challenge as it comes up. Aiden also
Let's do
had
it.
to. Oh no, not that one. Aiden had to bail on us, which is totally understandable. And yes, suggests that he's suggested that we use Chakra and said, yeah, I'll help you out. And now he's left and said the best way to learn it is just to bang your head against the wall anyway. So yeah, that's.
I've just looked on Chakra's site though, and they do have a guide to setting it up with Remix. So perfect.
Oh, nice.
Sick. All right. And Daniel has shouted out that Firebase defaults to open as well. And so when we were just talking about whether we should enable RLS by default, I think Firebase have also probably run into that same problem trying to onboard people who aren't familiar with that style of authentication, and probably run into the problem where everyone's like, Firebase doesn't work. And so, something that I think should be on by default, but maybe it will break the onboarding experience if it is. Cool.
John,
right.
you forgot my my Supabase tip, which I haven't made a video on, but we did it earlier in one of the other streams. If you cast your mind back for the user ID column and the default, so we don't have to send it up from the client side.
I actually have been using this since you suggested it, and so this is actually one of my favorite tips, which I had no idea about until Alaister enlightened me. And that's like what we're doing here with our UUID generate v4 or our now function. These are Postgres functions that exist is now given to us from Postgres, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the UUID generate v4, that's a Supabase function specifically.
I think
I think it's extension.
Like crypto, crypto extension or something.
Well, the one that we're about to use here, which is auth.uid, this is definitely a Postgres function that is provided to us as a way to pull the user out of the JWT token that's passed along with the request to Supabase. So again, because Supabase is handling all of that auth for us, when we're doing stuff in our database, we can actually detect who that user is, which is a pretty unique thing unless you do a bunch of custom configuration on your Postgres database, that's a pretty unique thing to Supabase. So here, what we're saying is we want to set the default value to be auth.uid, which means whoever is actually the one making this request, so whoever is inserting this new entry or updating this entry, we want to set the user ID column to be their user ID. So we don't need to implement that logic in our application, because otherwise we would need to make sure that we're pulling that out of Supabase on the front end and passing that across with every request anytime we're inserting a new value or updating anything. Whereas here, we can just set it by default, and then we can just forget about it.
Nice.
The only problem is it does break us creating rows here in Supabase until we go and create the Remix application and then implement auth so that we can create a user and then use that user's ID to create our new.
Well, it would break anyway, right? Because we need a user ID. It's not nullable, so we wouldn't have one until we've created a user.
But I mean, even if we wanted to, like, I don't know what the rules are for a UUID, but like if we try and create this, it's
it's got a foreign key constraint on it, so
that's what I mean.
Yeah, it wouldn't work either way.
Yeah, you're right. What am I talking about? This wouldn't work because it doesn't make sense. We wouldn't want to do that. We want to only create these from the front end when we have a user who is creating them. So maybe it's a good time to jump into the remix side.
Yeah, why not? I'm excited.
I'm just hesitating because it means that I'm on my own now, aren't I? All right. I'm just going to quickly change into my examples directory, which doesn't exist. Why am I trying to do this? CD. All right. And we're going to call remix, create remix, and we can call it whatever we want to call it. So it was Happy Days, right?
Yeah.
Happy Days is the name of our application. We're going to proceed with installing our create remix package. And then this is going to step us through some other questions about how we would like to configure it and whether we want to use awful things like TypeScript.
Oh, TypeScript. I like the sound of
Let's do
that.
that. I like that. Yeah.
I used to
This
be
is
the
a-
majority. Now I'm the minority. It's
the production. It's a production grade.
It's true.
You know,
So
SaaS
nice,
subscription
yeah.
app we're building here.
It's true. It's true. We definitely, we want this to be as stable as possible and as repeatable as possible for other people to build something super stable. So it's a good idea. So the first question here is asking whether we want just the basics or a configured stack. And so in Remix, you have this concept of stacks, which are like pre-built templates, but not just templates of the Remix application, but even like where you deploy it and what you use as a backend. So there actually are Supabase stacks. There's a Superfly stack, which deploys to Fly. And then there's another one from Netlify, which deploys to Netlify. But we're just going to start with just the basics. We just want to create an empty Remix application and do it all from scratch.
Makes sense.
So then we get a choice of what kind of hosting we're thinking of doing later. You can reconfigure this, but I think we were talking about maybe deploying to Cloudflare workers, right?
I think it'd be super cool. I was playing with them a bit yesterday, just after work, having a great time. So yeah, let's do it.
So what's the benefit of using something like Cloudflare workers here?
Well, the same benefit you get from using Supabase Edge functions or even Dino deploy. Edge is a great time. So it runs super close to your users. So I think, everyone's probably heard all about Edge over and over again. It's all the new hotness at the moment, I think.
You do work at a database company on the back end, though. You probably, other people that might be tuning in might not be as familiar. So the Edge is basically like if you ever used like Vercel or Netlify or whatever to host your application and had like a simple static app, it is deployed to a collection of CDN nodes. So basically the server that serves your application is as close as possible to your users. Then when we realized, we still need those servers, we need to actually run some application logic. There was this problem where you would, even though your application was close to your users, you'd probably still need to make a request to an origin server somewhere to get to run some kind of server-side logic. And then very recently, as Alaister is kind of alluding to, Edge is a pretty hot topic at the moment where everyone is talking about Edge, which is the idea of not just having static assets at all of those CDN nodes, but having the ability to run serverless functions as close to your users as possible as well. And so if your user is in Japan, for example, if Tyler was looking at our application, if we're deploying this to Cloudflare, then we would get a version of our application that's served directly from Tokyo. Whereas if we're doing it from here in Australia, we would probably get one from Sydney or whatever our closest node is. So not only getting static assets as close as possible to your users, but also getting the little bits of server-side magic that you want to run as close to your users as well. The problem is when you're using something like Supabase, that is still hosted at one origin somewhere in the world. So the application that we'll be building, we will still have our Supabase instance running in Sydney. And then, so the rest of our application will be served very, very quickly from nodes as close as possible to our users. But then anything that they need to go to the database for, they'll need to make a request to Sydney and come back, which...
But,
TypeScript, in my upcoming Egghead course, which I'm currently recording, we look at solving that exact problem. So how can we cache Supabase data at the edge using Cloudflare and have our Supabase data as close as possible to our users as well? So we only need to go back to that origin server for a small number of things.
Yeah,
Alaister.
I'm definitely going to give that one a watch. I'm looking forward to it. But I was going to say, even though we have to go back to the origin for database operations for this app, why it still makes sense to use the Edge a bit is because chances are Cloudflare's internet is a lot faster than yours. So that link, like if you can get into the Cloudflare network as close to you as possible because it's on the edge, and then Cloudflare will be the one that forwards that request on to Supabase, and then Supabase forwards it back to Cloudflare, and you're just like that last little bit of the request, or your internet connection is. So there's still a benefit here to using Edge, definitely.
Yeah, that's a very, very good call. Yeah. All right. Do we want to use TypeScript or JavaScript here?
It's not even a question.
TypeScript for sure. Yeah.
Not even a question down this one. Yeah. All right. TypeScript it is. And do we want to run npm install? Yes, because we want to actually be able to run our application. We're just going to go create our Remix app. And it will have just like a fairly basic template. Are we going to jump into trying to use Shukert?
Yeah, let's while it's installing, we can you can look up the guide.
Take a look at the
Just
documentation.
put in Remix Shukert, and it should walk you through it.
All right.
Look at that. We
Beautiful.
love it when
and
they've got a
even
guide.
just copy and pastable commands.
Nice.
Okay, so we do Shukert React and emotion styled and frame emotion. Right, so we get a lot of stuff for free, don't we? Because so frame emotion is used for animation. And emotion
for
is
free.
For free. Our users don't get it for free, but we get it for free. Emotion is similar to styled components, so it's a way that you can write your styles in JavaScript and have all of the magic of JavaScript there, but then it all compiles down to usually compiles down to CSS. And frame emotion is a similar thing for animations. So yeah, we're going to have the ability to make this look really, really nice, I think, and have some really, really nice animations. Or someone else is going to have the opportunity to do that if you want to contribute to this project, because that would be an awesome way to make what we're building.
Get started with open source,
and get started with open source. Get yourself some free swag. If you wait until October, which is still a while away, so don't wait until October, you could include it in Hacktoberfest if that happens again this year. But yeah, definitely a good opportunity to get started with open source and get those Supabase contributions in. How are we going with this? We're done. All right, so we can open this up. I'm going to use my...
I think you got a CD.
Good call. Why does that keep doing CDE? I want to change into Happy Days. I'm going to open this up in VS Code. I do have a separate teaching profile, but I realized that I think is what was giving us so much trouble with like not giving me auto suggest stuff for completing. And now I also have GitHub Copilot installed, which I think we were talking about. Maybe I would try and get in on that. Hey, what we were just talking about, open source contributions. That is how you get GitHub Copilot for free. So definitely get your contributions up so that you can potentially get the magic of Copilot without having to pay for it. All right, I need to stop like promoting that as like something like paying for things is good if you're using them and if they help make you money as well. But I probably wouldn't be paying for Copilot if it wasn't given to me for free. So all right, let's take Shukert UI, this command, and let's just look at our Remix application.
Let's make sure it boots.
Yeah. But let's not just add a whole bunch of stuff before checking that it actually works. So if we run npm run dev, that's going to start up our project running on port 8787. So if we come over to here, wait, is that right? No, it's running on 3000. No, it is 8787.
Oh, it's the Cloudflare mini flare.
That's right.
Thing.
I forgot about this. So in the README, it actually tells us all about this. That we're running the mini flare server, which is for specifically the Cloudflare workers side of things. And then the Remix development server is running separately. So there's two processes that run. But if we just run this one command, they're both running. So we can go to 8787 to look at that just pipes everything through, right? We don't need to worry about the Remix server running behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Cool. And then, when we're deploying, we just use Wrangler. And if you don't have an account, you need to sign up.
Sweet.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, the app works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So we're seeing the app here. And if we want to look at what that's actually rendering out, if we go to app and then routes, we can see this index.tsx file. So this is saying, welcome to Remix, 15-minute quick start blog tutorial, deep dive jokes app tutorial. So that's exactly what we're seeing here, with just some content about what you can, how you can dive into a little bit deeper into Remix.
Nice.
Cool. So let's get rid of all of this and all of this inline styling stuff. And let's look at installing Chakra. So we're going to say, welcome to Happy Days, just to prove that this is working. Yeah, cool. So maybe hot module reloading.
Mini-flare. I don't think
magic
supports it.
Okay, right.
But that's all right. We can go back to PHP and push the refresh button.
Yeah. For the compromises that we're making in our local development environment by having to refresh, we get so many more benefits in the cloud when we push this up to Cloudflare workers. All right, let's install the Chakra UI library. So again, that's Chakra UI React Emotion, React Emotion Styled, Frame Emotion, and Emotion Server. And while that's running, we can have a look at the next step in the documentation. So we need to set up a provider. So we need to create a context.tsx file in the app folder and populate it with this. So,
seems straightforward enough so far.
TSX. Was that what it said? Context?
Yep.
Yes. And dump that in. And next on the agenda is to create the emotion cache file. To do that, create a create emotion cache.ts file.
Can do.
Can do. Easy. Very easy so far. And put this stuff in it. Also easy.
Straightforward.
After creating the emotion cache, we need to modify the entry files for both the client and server. So yes, this is something. In Remix land, this root.tsx file is what kind of sits at the root of our application. So this is similar to our _app.js file in Next.js or _app.tsx. So this is kind of the top level of our application that wraps the rest of our application. So this is where we have like the HTML and head tags and our body tags. And then this outlet is where the rest of our application is going to render. But then there is a separate entry for the client and a separate entry for the server. So this is kind of, where the node server runs here, or where the, React hydration step happens here. Yeah, so that's coming in from React DOM. Nice. So what this is telling us is in entry.client.tsx, we want to do this stuff. So we're going to modify the way that we're hydrating everything, I guess. Or we're just we're just wrapping this in a provider. So this is just a Remix like context provider that gives us some kind of global state, presumably.
Was there an import error in that one?
Yes.
When you npm installed, were you in the right folder?
Maybe.
I think you were.
Whoa! Errors.
Legacy
Unable
peer
to
depths, is that what it's going to be?
Dependency tree. Sorry?
Yeah, legacy peer depths. What version of Node are you using?
Node or npm?
Node. 18. 18 is a pain.
But
that's fine. Just run the npm install command again, but just add -- legacy peer depths to the end. You can legacy - peer depths. Yeah.
That.
Yep. And that makes it work how it used to work before it got confusing and strict, and how it probably should work. But things that should work and what we're used to.
Things that should work don't work.
Is that installing? Oh, there we go. It just took a second. Nice.
So TypeScript has already saved us some time, right? Good job, TypeScript. All right, cool. Was that even TypeScript? Maybe it wasn't TypeScript. Maybe it was just
I have no idea.
Built-in error checking for the fact that you're trying to import something that doesn't exist. So we also need to bring in our we need to override our entry.server.tsx file with this stuff, which I guess gives us a server provider with all of that global stuff. I'm glad they did all this, because
I know this would be a nightmare to work out yourself.
This essentially says to me, don't don't use anything outside of the normal setup. Just use the default setup, because otherwise it's too hard. But if someone goes and creates a new default setup for me, that's perfect. So in our root.tsx, so again, the file that wraps all of our stuff, we want to put this in. And so I guess this is adding dangerously setting the inner HTML for our CSS. So I guess this makes our CSS available to our application. And then in our app, we want to wrap our app in document Shukert provider. Wait, where's our app? Right, we're already lost.
Yeah.
It's just who knows. Well, let's just fix the errors in this file.
That's a good idea.
Because
on the
we're Cloudflare, aren't we? So where that comes from, whatever the Cloudflare workers,
I guess.
No, Cloudflare.
No, it's Cloudflare.
Ooh.
And then we'll have the same problem here. I'm assuming that we need this to be Cloudflare. Cool.
And is the app just talking about a specific page, or is that like something else?
Maybe it just means wrapping our outlet. So I don't know if this is maybe written with a different version of Remix.
Let's hope not.
So yeah, it's giving us the document and all of that stuff. I think it's just thinking that. Oh wait, no. Children is. What is children? So this is giving our. So we have a document.
Where's the outlet in the default app? Is that?
Well, I think it's overwritten it. Which.
Oh no, we needed to like, we couldn't just copy paste this whole file. Undo the entry dots, the root.tsx. Go back to what we had.
Undo.
So
right.
Look in this file. We have an outlet here, right? So we need to like merge these two things. So this like there's our app. So maybe if you just want to paste the root.tsx on top of that and leave that app thing in there.
Or do we just copy this whole thing
and then copy the app? Yeah.
And then create an app underneath it.
Yep.
All right.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
We can just redo because we fixed the Cloudflare.
And then underneath it, I don't know why you wouldn't just include it in the, like if it's in the same file.
Trying to freak us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that wouldn't just be there. Anyway.
Fix the node import again for Cloudflare.
Good call. You see, like my mind just ignores the red, whereas you're like, hang on, something's wrong. TypeScript is hinting to us. It's trying to help us, not hinder us. Okay, so I guess we don't need to manually set this. This is just telling us what it is. And then we can optionally
let's just refresh and see if it works.
Oh, yeah.
Good idea. Over here, we're going to refresh, and we're going to first run our server again.
Come on, no build errors.
That's not a no build error. That's a build error.
And yeah, that means it's not going to work, is it? Cloudflare doesn't have buffer.
Yeah. Bye, Shukra. Sorry, we tried. Oh well.
So we are sticking with Tailwind, huh? Then.
Yep.
Or we could use Dino instead of Cloudflare. That might work. Although that doesn't have buffer either. Where was using the buffer? Can you just show me that error one more time? You
want me to redo? All right. The error was
that one. Under
no modules buffer from index.js.
Where's that in? Build emotion server. Yeah.
We probably can't fix that one.
Yeah. Unless there's like a specific. Oh, there's GitHub issues for it, and the GitHub issues are open with 5 thumbs up and no comments. So yeah, bye Shukra.
Sorry, Shukra, we love you,
Too bad.
but this isn't going to work for this application. I'm
It's
just
not going to work out.
Oh, don't trash the whole examples folder. What am I doing? Trash happy
days.
All right, and we're just going to do this again.
No one will ever know.
No one has to know this ever happened. We'll just edit this out of the video that goes out on YouTube. Surely we won't make people sit through us going through that configuration and then deciding to just bin it. We wouldn't do that to people. Cloudflare workers, we're going to use TypeScript. We're going to npm install.
We should have gotten this speed the first time. That was great.
The good thing is we still need to go through a configuration for Tailwind. It's just one that I've done before, so I know it works. Oh, actually, I wonder if it does work with Cloudflare.
It's just CSS. It'll work.
Yeah.
There's no like CSS in JS that has to be rendered on every request using a buffer for some reason. Probably for performance.
That's true. Yeah, all of that JavaScripty stuff in the middle is what's breaking things. So this is a really awesome guide for getting Tailwind set up with Remix. Again, it's just got these nice copy and pastable commands. So we've done our create remix. We've changed into the repo for happy days, and then we want to install another big list of things. So this is installing as a dev dependency Tailwind CSS, Post CSS, auto prefixer, and concurrently. So Post CSS is what the magic behind Tailwind CSS. Auto prefixer means that we don't need to worry about different browsers, and then concurrently is something that we need because we're going to be running. We want the Tailwind stuff to happen every time we refresh our page, every time we save, and so concurrently allows us to run that Tailwind server as well as our Remix server. So we'll install those ones. And then we can call npx Tailwind CSS init, which I think just creates a couple of files for us. One of which is this Tailwind config. So let's run that one. Now, if we open this up in VS Code and set up our windows properly, hey, look, it's a Remix app, and it looks like that other Remix app that we had.
What other Remix app, John?
What other Remix? Oh yeah, we edited that section out, right? We definitely edited that section out. I'm just going to put this on this side. All right. So we want to add the content part to our tailwind.config.js as content. And then we want to update these scripts. I'm just going to take this whole scripts key, and in package.json, we just want to overwrite all.
Cloudflare does this again. Yeah, we can merge these.
Why did we pick Cloudflare? All right, npm run build CSS and remix build. So the build, we can do that one. That's easy.
Yep. We can add the Tailwind CSS one. And then we just need another. We've already got like a concurrently, I think. Or run P we're using. Run parallel instead of concurrently.
It's good to have two packages that are responsible for running two processes at once. So our dev is...
I would actually do as look, dev/star, and we've called, so if we just make dev/CSS as well,
cool,
which is there, it's going to be perfect.
Perfect. And then we can get rid of all of this, and it should just magically work.
In theory.
We also still need to create some more files. So here we need to create an app.css. This one always catches me out. So we create a ./styles/app.css. So this is actually like out at the rootmost part of our application. We do styles/app.css. And we put these ones in here. And then on the next one, it says import the compiled version of this. So this actually gets created by those scripts that we just modified. I always think like, oh, if this says ./app/style/app CSS, I've put this in the wrong place. I need to move it to here. Not
That's a
the
good
case.
little tip. I definitely do the same thing.
So if we go to our root app root.tsx, and then up the top, we want to do something like this. And then we want to, actually, yeah, we can just leave this here. So all this is doing is importing the generated styles, which haven't been generated yet until we run our dev server. And then it's setting it as links, like a style sheet link in our head. We then need to just run npm run dev.
Nice.
Hopefully. We'll see. Nah. Build errors.
It's that.
Well, yeah. Of course it hasn't done that.
Maybe run the CSS script once by itself, and then we can see if that will generate it the first time, like build CSS, and then hopefully that will create it.
You're a genius.
Mm.
Look at that. Perfect.
That's so hacky, but whatever works.
And then anywhere in our application, we want to test that Tailwind is actually working. And so if we come back to our index route, and so this is what is rendered at just / in our application, we can replace all of this with a simple H1 that just styles stuff as a H1 looks, with 3XL text, so large text, and a bolded font with an underline. How did all of these get moved around?
I know, they moved around.
Mm.
All right. Now, if we refresh this, we see
Hey,
hello world.
Nice.
Our styling is
Nice.
working. Hopefully we get a little bit
that's
further
how it's
than
done,
this.
Chakra.
No, we love Chakra. Chakra is awesome.
It's actually it's emotion.
The limitations
actually.
of us and cloud. Yeah, I guess it's just that incompatibility between Remix or the way that we're using Remix and Chakra.
Well, it's emotion and Cloudflare workers. That is a spam.
Okay, that's a spam. I'm not going to put that up on the screen. It's apparently, Jason is saying that it's 2:30 here in the UK, so looks like you joined at the right time. 2:30 is a pretty happy
Thanks
hour.
for joining us, Jason.
Yeah, thanks for
2:30. Right, Friday
ruining
morning.
your day tomorrow by staying up too late with us. That's that's awesome. Hopefully you haven't got anything too important on tomorrow. Cool. So let's pull in our stuff. I just realized that there's going to be some Auth fun stuff.
Should we start from Auth stuff, or
we have some time?
I guess we need a user, huh?
So the user is easy. All right, let's just start by let's build a sign-in page so we can create a user.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm hesitating is because, as we mentioned before, Remix has this concept of loaders and actions. And so if we export const loader equals an async function that does some stuff, if we return from here a JSON object, which looks like working true, this loader is going to run on the server before our component is rendered. So we can get access to whatever we return here in our use loader data function. So this is going to give us back the data that was returned from the loader. And so then if we were to, if we just do like a pre-tag and we do json.stringify our data and then say null2, we can pretty print whatever's coming back here in the browser. So if we refresh this, we'll see working true. So that's the JSON object that we've passed back from our loader. But because this happens on the server side, all of the auth and stuff in Supabase happens on the client. And so it stores the JWT token that it sends to each request to Supabase. It stores that in local storage. and we don't have access to local storage when we're on the server, because local storage exists in the client's browser. So if we want to do something like that, we need to, every time we sign in our user, we need to create our own custom cookie, which we can do and we will do for this stream. But it might not be worth going into now because it's quite a meaty topic. So we might implement just client-side authentication. So we've got a user signing in, and so we've got that kind of skeleton there. And we could even, it's not very remixy, but we could just use effect to go and get our data from Supabase just to show that we've got that connection happening client-side. And then in the next stream, we'll jump straight into all of that cookie stuff, which is going to enable us to make a request on behalf of the user from our loader. Yeah, if none of that makes sense.
It makes sense. We can build the page.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it in our within our component here. So yeah, let's create a new page to be able to sign in. So under routes, we can create a new page like this, and we can call this one register.tsx.
So does Remix handle routes like Next.js handles it? You can create different files, folders under routes, and it'll just be...
Yes, it does.
That'll be the URL.
One difference that you can do nested routes, and so you can do like components that wrap other components, which we'll look at in a second. But yeah, it honors the name-based or the file-based routing structure here. So yeah, so if we were, maybe this is what you're suggesting, is maybe we could create like an auth/register.tsx. And so now the path to get to this in our application would be /auth/register. And we haven't actually created a component here. So let's say const register equals our component. And we're just going to return a H1 that says register and export default register. And we can just delete this extra one that we made. And now if we refresh this, we'll see register. So that's how easy it is to create different routes in Remix.
Nice.
So we want this to talk to Supabase. So we're going to have to create a Supabase client. Or first, we're going to have to install Supabase.js. So if we come across here and say npm install @supabase/Supabase.js.
Which does work in Cloudflare workers.
Yeah, it does. It didn't used to. This is actually, quite a recent thing. In fact, yeah, it's a very recent thing. Because when I went on baby leave, I had done a bunch of preparation for my Cloudflare course before that. And then like in that course, I was going through how to make it actually work because it didn't work. And then when I got back, I went to like go through the same steps and I'm like, oh wait, no, it just works by default now. So that's simplified things a little bit, which is very nice. So I'm going to npm run dev again. And now we need to create a client. And so we can do that by creating a new folder in our app folder called utils. And then we're going to create a file called supabase.ts. And so, yeah, anything that you create, except for this configuration for Tailwind, anything that you create in your Remix application usually sits under this app folder because there is a shorthand way of importing files from here. So we kind of get like absolute imports from this folder. So if we want to create a client, we import create client from Supabase.js, and then we can export default and call create client, and then we need to pass it two values, which are our, look at that, Copilot's got our back.
But
it's almost right.
env, isn't defined.
The first one is URL anyway, and then the second one is non-key, but it got close. We obviously need more open source. We need more open source Supabase clients out there, so it knows which value comes first. What were you saying, Alaister?
Process env is Node, not Cloudflare workers.
Is it just env?
No, it's just like the uppercase Unless with Remix that might be another way, but we'll see. No env, just like literally call it Supabase URL all uppercase. It injects those environment variables, and then in our Wrangler TOML we can put them in there, I think. But we need, like with TypeScript above this, you can do like declare global something or other.
Like this?
Yeah, and then
what
some
was that?
squigglies.
Like that?
Yeah, squiggly bracket. Yeah, no, not without the interface window. And then do const like Supabase URL : string. And the same for the other one.
Same. Supabase anon key. Cool.
Yeah, this could be an interesting one though. We might just like whack them in line depending on what version Remix is using, because sometimes Cloudflare Workers injects it as like an env object, and then sometimes it makes them just global variables. So this will work if we're using the old version that makes it global variables, but the new one, like you have to use the env object or something.
Right.
So in that case, we'll just like literally put them in line as strings and call it a day, because I don't know how to fix it.
All right.
I'm a fan of that, actually. That works so nice. And
yeah,
you
Tyler's
can
like
always expose
Flutterland.
it. Yeah.
Just putting them in line, like just dropping in the strings and being done with it, not needing to worry about. Yeah,
It
because
makes
they
it
are
easier
like,
for open source contributors as well. They can just clone the repo and run it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
totally. And yeah, like we already have RLS turned on, and so we totally can expose this anon key. It's safe to do that, because right now you can't do anything with it because we haven't written a policy to enable any of those actions. Okay, so we're going to see if this works, and we're going to put in the Wrangler.toml.
And then do we have a key called vars in square brackets?
Out to Google this. I did this recently. And then we do like Supabase URL.
Yeah.
Equals whatever, and Supabase anon key equals whatever. So we're going to go and get these values from Supabase. So if we come over here to our Supabase instance and we go to settings and then API, we've got our URL here. So I can copy that and paste it as our URL. And then
I think you need double quotes.
Okay. Double quotes. And then our anon key, I just grabbed that from here under project API keys. The anon public key is the one we want. So we copy that, paste that here, and make sure it's in quotes. Cool.
And we'll restart our server, and maybe we'll console log one of those global variables just to see if it's there or not, because I have zero faith, to be honest.
So yeah, a good way that we can do this is in our, I guess, if we're already on our register page, we can just use this. But let's export out a loader that's going to run on the server, because that's most likely to have our... I need to get better at letting Copilot do all my work for me.
It takes time, doesn't it?
It is nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah, let's try to console log out here our Supabase URL and our Supabase anon key. Supabase. Thank you, TypeScript. And now if we refresh our page here, and now this isn't going to show up in the console here. That might be the first place you go to look for it, because we've written that in the file that has our component in it. But remember, that runs, our loaders and actions run on the server. So we want to actually look at our dev console over here. And look, we have Supabase URL and we have Supabase anon key.
Nice. Beautiful.
One thing that we probably don't have is, if I move this across to our component, so this will render once on the server during our server rendering step. So the first render in Remix is done on the server, and then it will re-render on the client and do that hydration step. That
Yeah,
we were
these
looking
aren't
at
going to be
before.
available in the client.
No. So if I refresh here and open up the console, oh no, everything's crashed. Yeah, this is something that I went through in another course, in my Level Up tutorials course using Remix and Supabase. Yeah, if you try and console log out these, or yeah, everything's broken essentially. This is just in an infinite loop and is completely locked up, and I can't do anything with it. So yeah, not sure who needs to improve the DX there, but probably need an error to say you're in an infinite loop and you now can't do anything, and your computer fans are going to spin up and use up all of your resources. But the way that we need to do this is we need to expose them to the client side. So if you are, again, familiar with Next.js, there's this concept of having server-side environment variables. So anything that you declare in a .env.local file or whatever will be exposed to the server side. But then if you want to expose it to the client, you need to prepend it with next_public_, and then the name of your environment variable. There's no concept of that in Remix. If you want to do something like that, you basically have to do it yourself. And so the way that you would do it yourself is in our index, in our root.tsx file. Remember, this runs at the top of our application. So if we wanted to have these environment variables globally available to us, then this is where we would want to do that. So they're available on each page. I'm going to do as much as I can remember how to do, and then I'm going to go copy a little snippet from the Remix documentation.
It's
But
all right.
we need
I've got the docs up.
Excellent. We need to export out a loader. And so this will run on the server before the rest of our application. And so in here, we have our Supabase URL and we have our Supabase anon key. And so we want to, I guess, declare those as Supabase URL. I actually probably don't even need to do that.
We can just keep them
need
as the uppercase thing. Return JSON.
Yeah. So we want to return a JSON object, which has, I guess we could just do Supabase URL and Supabase anon key.
The Remix docs suggest putting it under another object called env in all caps, because that way we can just set it on the window to window.env and just have those there.
Cool. Right. So we have an env. In the docs, it's capital. I'm just making it lowercase because it doesn't need to be capital.
Okay.
It's ugly. And I'm used to doing like process.env lowercase as well. Although we are in Cloudflare land now, so maybe we do want to do capital. Anyway, doesn't matter. We can get these values here in our component by, again, calling use loader data. So this is going to give us back our env. And then the bit that I need your help with is the actual little injectee
I've sent
script.
it to you in a message on Slack.
Perfect. Slack. Oh, where has that opened? Why have I stopped sharing my screen? What's happened? Everything's
pushing all the
apart.
buttons again.
Yeah. All right. The little bit that we need to put in here.
Right above scripts makes sense because we want to actually use it probably in some of those scripts, right?
That makes a whole lot of sense. So just above this scripts component here, we want to do this, which looks scary, but it's really not that scary. So we're injecting our own script, or declaring our own script in the tree of HTML. You maybe have done this before if you wrote JavaScript like more than 3 years ago, 5 years ago, before React came and abstracted away the whole actual DOM. You used to write scripts. And so, yeah, this is a script. So it's just a HTML tag for a script, which allows us to run some JavaScript. And we're dangerously setting the inner HTML of this tag to essentially be window.env equals, and then stringifying all of our environment variables. So now we could do window, again, I'm going to make this lowercase. So it's window.env dot, and then Supabase URL or Supabase anon key.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, let's see if it works. In our Supabase.ts, so now we need to determine whether we're on the client or whether we're on the server.
On the server, we can just create a dummy one, right, with blank strings instead of a URL or a. Or well, no, on the server we can just use those actual things. That's cool. Just if the window exists or not. Perfect.
Yeah. So if we just said like const Supabase URL is equal to, is it like type of
window is not equal to undefined or equal to undefined, whatever you want to.
Equal undefined. Well, maybe we'll pull this out. Yeah, to make this a little bit nicer. Let's say const is server equals.
That'll be is browser.
Is
no. I think you're right. My brain
type
stopped
of
working.
window does not equal undefined, so it is defined. Therefore, we're on the browser.
So I was right the first time. Oh, I can't remember what I was saying. I don't even know. I'm losing it at this point.
So if the type of window does not equal undefined, then
there is
defined,
a window,
and therefore we're on the browser.
I'm just gonna say, can we just copy and paste the Supabase URL Supabase unknown key as a string right here and be over there?
We're here now, Tyler.
No. We've come this far. I really want it to be is server, but whatever. Is client equals type of window does not equal undefined, and then we can say if it is the client, then this is the value that we want to set, which is going to be window.env.
This
really... Come on. Dot Supabase URL, otherwise Supabase URL.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I want, but this is saying that it does not. So yeah, I guess we need to
window. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we do this within the other one.
What if we're on the server?
Like interface window, like that. Or we'll just put the
keep pressing tab until it stops yelling. So we want env, which is going to be set
perfect. No.
Explicitly going to be set to Supabase URL, which is a string, and Supabase anon key, which is a string. I'm starting to agree with Tyler.
Yeah.
Just inline these values and not spend time on this. Okay, so we have
always listen to Tyler.
For window, where we have an environment variable for these. Okay, so here we're saying they both exist, which isn't really true because it's either one or the other. But let's just move on. So is client, we want to set it to window.env.Supabase URL. Otherwise, we want to set it to that server-side environment variable that's available for us. And the anon key. Oh my god, it's all falling apart. All right, the anon key is set to, if we have a client, it's set to our anon key.
You got autocomplete now. We've typed it.
Nice. Beautiful. Now we have these two variables, so we can say this is just going to be our Supabase URL, and this is just going to be our Supabase anon key.
Boom.
Now we might have a client, which we should confirm, and then I think that will probably wrap this one. Oh yeah, that's right. This is still
can you restart the server, or is it your tab that's stuck?
I think it's my tab, but all of my resources have disappeared. I don't have the ability to alt tab anymore. Does that work? And that's the end of the stream. No, we can force quit this. Ooh, we get a black screen. And then we're going to open up Firefox again. And look, it even remembered what I was doing. That's nice. We then want to go to register, but our server's not running. So we say
your windows around.
Dev. And refresh our page. We now see register. And in the console, it's given us a nice WebSocket error instead of just crashing, which I realized it. Oh, wait, no, we removed it. Okay, cool. So now we should be able to bring in our Supabase client, right?
Yeah, we can also check, but like in the browser console, we can just say window.env and see if that exists with our environment in there. Well, yeah, no, I was just going to do it in the browser console, not even console log, because that's going to fail on the server.
I was about to say. All right, so now when we're here, if we console, we don't even need to console log, do we? We just need to look at window.env, and that's going to give us our Supabase URL and our Supabase anon key. So yes, there are all the hoops that we have to jump through. That Next.js nicely abstracts away and makes us not need to think about it, but it's doing something similar. It's it's still just injecting those values. Similar to how we're doing it here, but a little bit different. All right. Can we implement auth in -1 minute?
Who knows?
Yeah. I think this
yes, we can.
Okay.
If we don't do a form and just like statically type the values just to check it's working, why not?
All right.
Put it on a button.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we have a button called register, and we're going to create a handle register function, which is going to be async, and that is going to we're going to need to bring in Supabase. Let's see if this is clever enough.
Const Supabase.
Import. Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. Import Supabase from there, and we want to say const data is equal to wait Supabase from our
from?
Wait, no, what am I doing?
Auth
dot sign up, and we want to sign up with an email of john@supabase.com and a password of super secure. Ooh, look at that.
Whoa.
It is super secure now. Super secure password.
And I don't think it returns data. It returns a user or something, right?
Yeah, well, let's just
or
see
session. Yeah, it'll like that.
Nice.
We can just console log out whatever we get back. So then we just need to say, when we click this button, call this function. And now, if we go back to our application, if we can find it, we have this register heading that doesn't look like a button, but if we click it and open up our console.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. We get a response back, which has our user, which is set to
it actually worked.
Created. It actually did work.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. And so now if we head over to our Supabase instance and go to authentication and users, we can confirm that we have created our user. We're waiting for verification, so we need to go and actually verify the email that came in before our user is considered a valid user. But we've also created this user ID. So all of our auth stuff is working. In the next stream, we'll probably, I think we did email and password last time, so we might use third-party authentication with GitHub or something else. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I think that's as far as we're going to go in this stream. So we have decided on what we're actually going to build, which is good. So we're going to build a SaaS product. We're going to build a live journaling application, or not a live journal, a journaling application that allows us to create journal entries for different days. This gives us an awesome thing to SaaSify and create different usage tiers where we can create a certain number of entries for different monthly subscription payment tiers. We have created a remix application and wired it up to Supabase. I know there was lots of just like random jumbling of stuff there towards the end that we probably didn't explain very well, but at the start of the next stream, we'll go through what we have done and why we did it that way. And then we'll also jump into doing authentication properly so that we can have an authenticated Supabase client both on the server side as well as the client side, because currently it is only working with an authenticated user on the client side, and the server is just using our anon key. But anyway, we'll go through that in a later stream. Was there anything else we were going to go through? If you have enjoyed this stream and want to keep watching and see all the other cool stuff that we're going to build throughout this series. Or if you want to go check out the previous series where we built a multi-platform app using Next.js and Flutter, I recommend you come and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So it's /c/Supabase.
It's Supabase tips as well. There's going to be a lot of Supabase
Oh, the
tips. here.
Supabase tips.
Yeah.
Look how close we are to 5,000 subscribers, though. That could be you that
Damn.
just tips us over the edge.
That could, I mean, that's very swaggable behavior. It's definitely very swaggable behavior.
Number 5,000.
So come
yeah,
click.
sure.
We'll bribe you with swag to click subscribe. That seems like a very expensive way of getting subscribers, but you know.
Yeah, that's right. So come click subscribe, click the little notification bell to find out when we're going live with these streams. But as you can see, if I can zoom in, I can zoom in from our very pixelated thumbnail here. We are doing this every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, make sure you come join us each week and help us build out this application. Also, come follow Supabase on Twitter. So that's twitter.com/Supabase. Click that follow. You can click through to the Discord here and come and join our Discord, where we have 7,408 members now who are all talking about cool projects they're building with Supabase and yeah, answering questions that people have. This is an awesome place to get some feedback from the community, either about something that you're building or some support if you've run into a problem with Supabase. You can check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Supabase_TV. You can see that we're there. Oh, look, it's confused everything here. We're doing layers and layers and layers of as the delay catches up. So yeah, come watch us on Twitch. And that's what we were talking about before. I actually know how to spell these things now because I've had to do them every single week. So Tyler is at Shukert Jr. on Twitter. Alaister is at Alaister Young on Twitter. And I am at Jon Meyers _IO. Come give us a follow, see what else we're putting out, because yeah, there's heaps of awesome content. A lot of it with Supabase and some of it not Supabase, but yeah, give us a follow and we'll give you more content. And free swag all the time. So do cool things and we'll give you free swag.
Yeah, please DM us if you do anything cool with Supabase, because otherwise we won't be able to give you the swag codes. So yeah, that's how you get Supabase swags.
All right. I'm Jon. Thanks for watching another happy hour stream. Tyler.
Yep, I'm Tyler. Thanks, guys.
Alaister.
Well, I was so tempted. Hi, Jon. I'm Dad.
All right, this didn't work and we won't do it again. I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Enjoy your week, and we will see you next week for another happy hour stream.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. It was so much fun.